They're beautiful. They're silent. They're supposed to be the future. But what if I told you that some of the world's most expensive electric vehicles, the ones parked in billionaire driveways, are quietly falling apart behind the scenes? Somewhere beneath the luxury badges and glossy displays, there are critical failures no one wants to talk about, from failing batteries to software glitches that leave owners stranded. In this video, we're exposing the dark side of luxury EVs. Because the truth is, not all electric vehicles are built to last, and some of the worst offenders are hiding behind gorgeous interiors, big price tags, and five-star marketing. From silent system crashes to sudden range drops to mysterious problems that even dealerships can't fix, we've uncovered the 9 luxury EVs you should never buy. And you'll want to see which one ranks number 1, because odds are you've seen it praised everywhere. And if you're thinking Tesla, you're only half right. Let's dive in. Buying a luxury EV today feels like stepping into the future. You're promised instant torque, zero emissions, cutting-edge tech, and a silent, sophisticated driving experience. It's sold as the ultimate upgrade, not just from gas, but from everything you thought a car could be. But what most people don't realize is this: luxury doesn't guarantee reliability. In fact, when you mix untested electric platforms with overly complex software and bleeding-edge design, you're often buying a beta version of a car at a six-figure price tag. Worse, most of these issues don't show up in glossy reviews or on launch day. They surface months later, in owner forums, service centers, and court documents. And by then, it's too late. Neither. Mercedes-Benz EQC. A luxury badge can't save you from weak fundamentals. When the EQC launched, it promised classic Mercedes comfort blended with futuristic electric power. But behind the scenes, it was a patchwork of compromises. For starters, the EQC rides on a heavily modified internal combustion platform, not a true EV chassis. That means it's heavier, less efficient, and handles more like a gas car than a modern EV. Owners have reported serious range discrepancies, with real-world driving often coming 30 to 40% below the advertised figures. And then there's the software. Multiple owners have complained about laggy infotainment, inconsistent driver assistance behavior, and, worst of all, on an over-the-air update that temporarily bricked key vehicle functions. For a vehicle that starts near $70,000, these flaws aren't just frustrating. They're unacceptable. And here's the kicker: Mercedes quietly pulled the EQC from the US market before many even got to test it. Why? They blamed market conditions. But insiders say it was more about covering up a product that didn't live up to its luxury promise. Audi e-tron per 2023 models, stunning design, quiet luxury, and a battery that drinks range like a V8. On paper, the Audi e-tron looks like a no-brainer. It's built by one of the most respected German automakers. It has that unmistakable Audi refinement. And it doesn't scream EV, which is exactly what many buyers love. But here's the problem. Behind that premium image lies one of the most inefficient battery systems in the segment. Real-world tests have shown that earlier e-tron models struggle to deliver more than 190 to 210 miles of range, far below expectations, especially when compared to similarly priced competitors like the Tesla Model X or even the less expensive Model Y. And it gets worse in cold climates. Thanks to poor thermal management and a bloated curb weight, winter range can dip below 150 miles. A nightmare for anyone relying on it for long-distance travel. Then there's the depreciation. Within just 2 to 3 years, early e-trons have been seen losing up to 50% of their value. That's not just bad. That's luxury car disaster territory. To make matters worse, the charging speeds aren't competitive either. While Audi marketed its 150 kilowatt DC fast charging, many users report it rarely hits that speed. And when it does, it doesn't hold it long enough to make a meaningful difference. So what are you left with? A $70,000 SUV that looks great in your driveway, but leaves you with range anxiety, underwhelming performance, and a resale value that'll make your accountant cry. Audi has improved things in the newer Q8 e-tron, but if you're eyeing an earlier model, you might want to rethink that. 7. BMW EX. Bold design, bolder price tag. But under the surface, it's not all brilliance. The BMW iX was pitched as the brand's electric revolution, a statement of intent to compete with Tesla and Lucid. And to be fair, it does deliver on some fronts. It's fast, it's plush, and the interior feels like a tech lounge on wheels. But once you get past the surface gloss, things get murky. Fast. First, let's talk about build quality. Multiple early owners have reported rattles, creaks, and even loose interior panels within the first 10,000 miles. And we're not talking about base models here, and these are 90,000 Plazard luxury builds with premium packages. Then there's the software. BMW's new iDrive 8 system looks sleek, but it's bloated and unintuitive. Voice commands fail often. The interface is overly complicated, and several features that used to be tactile, like adjusting climate controls, are now buried in confusing submenus. Now add to that some bizarre design decisions. The touch-sensitive hidden buttons on the dash, they're a nightmare to use while driving. And the enormous grille, meant to evoke BMW's signature design, actually houses a fragile sensor array that's surprisingly vulnerable to weather damage. But the real kicker? The iX's high-voltage battery replacement cost is among the steepest in its class. Out-of-warranty replacements have been quoted at $20,000 to $28,000, more than some entire EVs cost new. And while BMW claims an impressive 300-plus mile range, real-world driving, especially on highways, regularly puts it closer to 240-260. That's a huge gap for a car that markets itself on premium performance. The iX feels futuristic, unless until it doesn't. If you're buying based on prestige alone, it might fool you. But if you're looking for long-term reliability, intuitive design, or peace of mind, you may want to keep your distance. Worse Jaguar iPace. Beautiful, sleek, award-winning, and yet quietly fading into irrelevance. When Jaguar unveiled the iPace, it made waves. Critics raved. It won World Car of the Year. It was sleek, fast, and early. One of the first true luxury EVs from a legacy automaker. For a moment, it seemed like Jaguar might outpace Tesla, but the honeymoon didn't last. The iPace has been plagued by a long list of hidden flaws that most people only discover after they've signed the paperwork. Let's start with charging. On paper, the iPace supports up to 100 kilowatt fast charging, but in real-world use, it rarely hits that mark. And when it does, the curve drops off dramatically. You can end up waiting nearly an hour for a Yoda 80% top-up, which is painfully slow compared to newer rivals. Then there's the infotainment system, which was outdated the moment it launched. Slow response times, glitchy interfaces, and frequent system crashes made for a frustrating user experience, especially in a car marketed as tech-forward. But perhaps the most damaging issue? Thermal management. Owners in hot climates have reported battery overheating, reduced performance, and even complete shutdowns during extended drives. And when things go wrong, you're stuck dealing with a limited service network that often lacks EV expertise. Some owners have reported waiting weeks, even months, for parts. Depreciation has also been brutal. In just a few years, many iPaces have lost nearly 60% of their original value, making it one of the worst luxury EVs to own long-term. Jaguar had the right idea, but the execution? Let's just say, it's been a masterclass in how not to launch a sustainable luxury EV. And now, as newer competitors flood the market, the iPace is starting to look less like a trailblazer and more like a cautionary tale. Ducker 5, Tesla Model X, early builds in plaid variant, Falcon Wing doors, wild acceleration, and a long list of silent headaches. There's no denying it. The Tesla Model X is a head-turner. The way those Falcon Wing doors rise is futuristic. The plaid variant delivers jaw-dropping acceleration, and the massive panoramic windshield makes it feel like you're flying a spaceship. But owning one, that's a different story. Especially if you're dealing with an early build, or even one of the latest plaid models. Let's start with the doors. Those iconic Falcon Wings? They're also a major liability. Owners have reported frequent sensor issues, misalignments, and complete door failures, especially in cold or wet weather. One owner even reported the doors refusing to open in a parking garage, trapping passengers inside. Then there's build quality. Tesla's speed-focused production methods have led to uneven panel gaps, squeaky interiors, and premature wear on trim pieces, all in a car that starts around $100,000. And while the Model X offers incredible performance, it often comes at the cost of range consistency. The Plaid's 1,000 plus horsepower setup drains the battery aggressively, meaning that real-world range can be 50-80 miles less than advertised, especially with spirited driving. Software updates are another double-edged sword. Tesla pushes features regularly, but they've also caused unexpected issues, from laggy screens to disabled features and even sudden autopilot disengagements. And if something goes wrong, good luck. Tesla's service centers are infamously overloaded. Some owners have waited weeks for repairs, even for critical components. And with minimal third-party support, you're basically locked into Tesla's ecosystem, for better or worse. Make no mistake, the Model X is a technological marvel. But for many owners, it's also a stressful, unpredictable ownership experience, one that doesn't always match its luxury price point. If you're considering one, be warned. What looks like innovation on the outside could be instability on the inside. The V4, Lucid Air, early production models. A new player, big promises. But are you willing to be the beta tester? The Lucid Air burst onto the scene as one of the most exciting EVs in years. Sleek design, jaw-dropping specs, and the longest EPA-rated range of any EV on the market. It was hailed as a Tesla killer, and at over $100,000 per unit, it certainly priced itself that way. But the problem with hype? It's rarely the full story. Early adopters of the Lucid Air have encountered a wave of unforeseen issues, the kind that don't show up in polished launch videos or press briefings. For starters, software instability has been a recurring nightmare. Owners have reported blank center screens, random system reboots, and malfunctioning driver assistance features, including lane keep assist and adaptive cruise suddenly deactivating on highways. Even worse, some vehicles have gone into safe mode mid-drive, limiting power and shutting off certain safety features. A terrifying experience, especially at freeway speeds. Then there's the build quality. While the materials look premium, multiple reports point to misaligned body panels, loose trim, and fragile switchgear. Things you'd never expect in a car that costs more than a fully loaded S-Class. Lucid also struggles with service infrastructure. As a startup, its network is tiny, and getting repairs can mean towing your car hundreds of miles or waiting weeks for parts to ship. Not exactly the seamless experience luxury buyers expect. Even routine issues like tire rotations or software updates have left owners frustrated due to delays and inconsistent support communication. And let's not forget, Lucid is still burning cash. If financial troubles persist, resale values and support could take a massive hit. That's a risk you have to factor in when buying from any new brand. The Lucid Air may be one of the most beautiful EVs ever made, but early owners, they're paying a premium to be the guinea pigs. Last number 3, Porsche TCON base and 4S models. It drives like a Porsche, but does it really live up to the badge once you plug it in? No one's questioning the TCON's performance. This thing drives like a proper sports car. Tight handling, instant response, and a cockpit that screams German precision. But what's under the hood, or more specifically, under the floor, tells a different story. Let's talk about range. Despite its premium price tag, often north of $100,000, the TCON delivers some of the shortest real-world range figures in its class. Early EPA estimates placed it around 200 miles, but many owners report daily driving results closer to 170-180 miles, especially in the base or 4S trims. And that's without pushing the car hard. If you actually drive it like a Porsche, aggressively, enthusiastically, expect that number to plummet. It's one of the few EVs that can give you range anxiety before lunch. Then there's the charging curve. Yes, the TCON supports 800-volt ultra-fast charging, which sounds amazing. But here's the catch. You need very specific conditions, like the right charger, perfect battery temp, and low state of charge, to hit those speeds. Most users never see the advertised 270 kilowatt in real-world use. And Porsche's infotainment system? While better than some legacy brands, it's still clunky. Navigating menus feels like a chore, and the touchscreen can lag, especially annoying when simple climate controls require multiple taps. Let's not forget about cargo space either. With a tiny trunk and limited rear seat legroom, the TCON's practicality falls far short of its price point, especially if you were hoping for a daily driver. And just like many luxury EVs, repair costs are brutal. Minor issues like air suspension calibration or sensor replacements can easily run you into the thousands. And many service centers are still learning how to handle EV-specific problems. So it's a thrill to drive. But when it comes to range, practicality, and long-term usability, the Taycan might just be a Porsche with a secret EV identity crisis. The Rivian R1S, the adventure EV that promised the world, but delivered frustration. Rivian burst onto the scene as the cool new kid in the electric SUV market. With a rugged design, off-road chops, and backing from major investors, it seemed like the perfect blend of luxury and utility. But beneath the hype, the R1S has stumbled hard. First up, build quality issues have dogged early owners. From doors that don't close properly to unreliable electrical systems, the R1S has struggled with the basics. Software glitches are rampant, with reports of infotainment crashes, unresponsive screens, and worst of all, unexpected vehicle shutdowns. The biggest concern? The battery management system. Some owners have experienced sudden range drops of over 20% within just a year. A death sentence for an EV built to go the distance. Charging infrastructure is still limited, especially for those seeking off-grid adventures. And when you combine that with frequent software updates that often introduce new bugs, ownership quickly turns into a headache. Rivian promised a luxury experience but often delivers uncertainty. If you want an EV built for adventure, be cautious, because this SUV might leave you stranded when you least expect it. Number 1, Faraday Future FF. Number 1. The most hyped luxury EV that became a cautionary tale. Faraday Future promised a revolution. Futuristic design, mind-blowing tech, and performance that would rival the best. The FF91 was supposed to be the Tesla killer, but in reality, it turned into one of the biggest EV disappointments in recent history. From launch delays stretching years to financial turmoil to barely any delivered vehicles, the FF91 story is filled with broken promises. Owners who did get their hands on one report frequent software crashes, failing driver assistance features, and a lack of basic reliability expected from any 150,000 pluses vehicle. Battery issues, overheating, and rapid degradation have been documented. Service and support, nearly non-existent. Faraday Future's FF91 is a perfect example of why you should be extremely cautious buying from startups, especially in the luxury EV space. So there you have it. The 9 luxury EVs you should never buy. Behind the shiny exteriors and marketing hype lie hidden flaws that could cost you thousands and ruin your driving experience. If you found this eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe for more insider automotive truths, and let me know in the comments. Which EV surprised you the most? Remember, luxury doesn't always mean reliable. Choose wisely.